Marcus Fitzsimmons and Troy Provo Heron.
Hello, everybody, and greetings from the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, along with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, and this is the Goatee Sports Page. The 150th running of the Kentucky Derby is upon us, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card, sponsored by Blunt Partnership. The University of Tennessee Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Murphy's Bobcat SEC Notebook, lead off with Marcus Fitzsimmons, Donnie Moore. Today we'll talk an array of UT sports ranging from basketball to baseball to softball. Donnie Moore will update us on high school scores and news from around the area, and then Mark It Down with Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Mandy B. Street Realty, features Alcoa Soccer. The Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment will be in the lineup, featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. Donnie Moore returns to discuss headlines from around the sports world before the Boyd Sports Spotlight shines on the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby. And finally, the Bowl Prediction segment closes out today's show as our panel makes their Kentucky Derby picks. And now it's time for the Cherokee Group UT Sports Report and the Murphy's Bobcat SEC Notebook, featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore. Carson Newman assistant football coach Tony Iruli and Troy Provo Heron are on board with us. Good morning to everybody on a rainy and soggy day. Huh?
No doubt.
Morning, Mark.
It's beautiful out.
Yeah.
Troy, it's great seeing you once again.
Yeah.
I was here last week.
Yeah, I know, but just
2
trying
weeks
to
in a
give you
row.
compliment.
2 weeks
But
in a row. And
it's kind of like a Bigfoot sighting. You know, you're excited every time.
I told you guys I'd be here the rest of the season.
You did.
We're in the clear now.
Right.
Oh, my
and
God.
if he's here next week, he gets an award, right, Donnie?
Yeah,
that's right.
3
I do.
weeks in a row.
Now you've said it. I expect it.
Yeah.
Thanks
Really,
for a head up here. You go.
when did we start
I'll bring
giving
two.
out participation trophies?
Right. Well, yeah.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, Donnie, I got to let her rip. I got a little bit of talk here this morning about names.
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 Oh,
Yeah.
I like it.
Let's go. Hey, what's happening at Tennessee and other universities across the country in sports? Suddenly names are getting harder than heck to pronounce. Now I want to be clear. I'm not faulting players or families for their first or last name, since they are kind of grandfathered into the deal. But us sports commentators are having a heck of a time with the correct pronunciation. Most of the names are not pronounced like they look. Heck, we really need some kind of professional verbal guru to assist us. Whatever happened to the good old days of Tennessee Vol sports when you had names like Kurt Watson, Lester McLean, Bobby Scott, Ron Whidbey, Jimmy England, Ernie Grunfield, just to name a few. Now, those were your ticket to simple, proper English pronunciations, the John Ward dream, so to speak. By the way, they could all play the game, too. Here on the Goatee Sports Page, we try our best with the proper name pronunciations, but if we foul up every once in a while and throw a dizzy deem at you with the wrong pronunciation, you can just sit back and laugh and tell yourself, I think I know who he is talking about. Huh, Donnie? That's
This is true,
I don't
Mike.
know. Maybe it's just me, but it just seems like more and more I got to rely on you for proper pronunciations a lot of times.
And like you said, it's getting tougher and tougher.
What about you, Tony? You know, you don't have any trouble with some of these names.
Unless they're an Italian name. But I liked last year. Tennessee's quarterback was Joe Milton.
Yeah,
All right,
that's pretty basic.
I could say that, pronounce it every time like this, but other players, man, I have
well,
no
tell
idea.
me who the quarterback is. Going to be next year.
Come on, pronounce it. Let's go. Big test.
2, 3, 4. Okay.
It's got 4 syllables.
Yeah.
Which is 3 too many to be a good marketing name.
Yeah. Donnie, help him out.
It is Nico Iamaleava.
There you go.
That was good. I knew the Nico part.
Yeah.
And that's the part
I
that
can
he's
do
going to
that.
be marketed under. That's
Nico.
what, like when he comes on, he's going to beat Nico
Yeah.
Nico, California.
because that is
Hey.
unique and it is identifiable and it is marketable.
You saying he's going to be like Cher?
Or Madonna or
We're done.
Prince or
Every time we have a hard pronunciation, I just need to look over at Donnie and with one finger go. And
There you go. You point right. Do you actually practice these names?
Well,
I do my
he-
homework.
You do
Tony.
your
Yeah,
homework.
he does
I
them.
do
He
my
does
homework.
graduation.
It's his job.
Graduation at
Yeah.
William Blount High School. You know, he had
We're
to
in
do
the
every-
technological age, though. We
pronounce
can
his
record.
names
We can
every Friday
record
night
Donnie
for
saying it.
Alcoa.
Just make a fast button on the app that will say it for us.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk some baseball and softball here real quick. Tennessee's baseball team's down in Florida, and they won the first game down there, and they got beat. They got rained out the first night, and then yesterday they played a doubleheader, won the first game, and the second game they lost 4-3 in a heartbreaker. But Troy, a week ago, they were kind of out of the East, but now they're just, I believe, one game behind Kentucky because they swept them up there last week.
Yeah.
And so they're right back in the Eastern hunt, and so they're going to play the rubber game. And see who wins that series down there in Florida. But every game's getting real important now.
Getting real important. And, obviously Tennessee kind of has, for lack of a better word, dominated the East the last couple of years. They've been the team that kind of everybody is chasing. And so Kentucky, I believe, has the harder schedule to end this thing. I don't know if Kentucky's going to have the staying power to kind of close this thing out. If I'm just taking a guess, I personally don't know how good they actually are. But I think it's a big situation for Tennessee to win today, win another SEC series, and keep it going. Ultimately, what does the SEC East championship mean to you? In the grand scheme of things, it's really not that much. You go out there, you win the SEC tournament, and you try and go and make a deeper run in Omaha, and that's kind of what the goal is, I think, for them should be. I don't think necessarily winning another SEC East championship and kind of adding to that is the ultimate goal. I'm not saying it's not important, but if you fall a game or two short and you finish 18 and whatever in the SEC, nobody's going to say that you failed, and ultimately what you're going to be decided on is how far you go in this postseason.
Whenever I watch Tennessee play on TV, I mean, I'm just amazed at the power that they have hitting home runs and just crushing the baseball
They
and
do.
all that.
You're
I mean,
right.
I'm impressed. It seems like every time I turn it on, they're hitting home runs and all that. And
Marcus, that championship could mean a little bit more if it was set up like the softball. We're going to talk about softball here in just a second, but they have everybody in like the old days. They don't have an East and West softball.
Maybe. I mean, to me, it's more of an incentive because it's easier to motivate kids to say we're playing to get the pennant, we're playing to win the East, than it's to say we don't want to drop out of the top 8 because we want to host the NCAA regional. And that's really what they're playing for, because they want to host that regional. You've got to be in the top 8. They've been there pretty much the last 6 weeks. And we'll see what happens because Kentucky's playing Arkansas in their series today. It was a great game last night, but I think that's going to tell us a lot about Kentucky.
Yeah.
And they could easily drop 2 games this weekend and put Tennessee into a tie for first in the division with 2 series to go. And Troy's right. Kentucky's got a much harder closeout over their last 2 series than Tennessee does.
Yeah. Tennessee softball's wrapping up their regular season this weekend, and they've got a 3-game series with Kentucky. And golly, I don't know the chances of this, but they won the first game 8-3 and the second game 8-3, and then of course they clinched the outright SEC championship with that win. They had a 1-game lead over Texas A&M. Texas A&M lost. So Karen Weekly and her Tennessee softball team are SEC champs. And as I said, there's no divisions in that, Tony, really. It's just one. It's like the old days. It's one great big old league. So I'll tell you what, Tennessee softball and what Karen Weekly's done through the years has been really amazing. There hadn't been any turnover in coaching, and it's very consistent. They just keep moving and winning and going on.
And they're fun to watch.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd like to see them get a national championship, as long as she's been there and so forth. But
what's amazing is it's only their 3rd regular season title.
Yeah.
That's it.
That shows you the strength of the league.
I mean, it does, but as good as Tennessee has been, it is that hard to consistently win a league title in softball. Because even the Monica Abbott team's only coming away with 1 title in those 4 years in the regular season. Now they've got some in the conference tournament, but the best stat this year from the softball after yesterday, there isn't one SEC team hitting over 300 as a team. Not one.
Good grief.
This is the year of the pitcher, and Tennessee's got 2 of the best.
Yeah.
You could argue that both of their pitchers are the front runners for SEC Pitcher of the
Oh,
Year.
that's the question. I mean, who is she going to say is Pitcher of the Year? Because realistically, it should be one of the two on her roster.
You could argue that they could just be co-pitchers of the year between Gottschall and Pickens.
Because I think the college softball magazine put them both up as Player of the Year candidates.
I want to talk a little bit about Lady Vol basketball. I've put it off the last couple of weeks, but they've had a couple of signees out of the transfer portal. Lazaria Spearman, 6'4" forward, played at Miami last year, 6.3 points per game, 6 rebounds. And Elisa Latham from Syracuse, transfer, will be a sophomore, 8.6 points per game, 7 rebounds, 6'2" forward. She was the ACC all-freshman team. I'll start with you, Troy, on this. I'm looking at their roster. I don't think they signed anybody else this week. I don't think I saw any more signees, but they have had one player leave. Caroline Striplin has gone to Indiana. She entered the portal, and she's going to Indiana to play. She averaged 7.2 points per game last year and shot 49% from the floor. But I guess what I'm looking at their roster, Troy. I'm seeing a lot of guards.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of guards on that roster right there. And I don't know of any, top women's basketball teams in the country that don't have that inside presence. And I don't know whether they've gotten that in the transfer portal right here.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about that. And the experience that she's gotten back on this roster here. Your feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be really. The more I've sat on it, how I'm more cautiously optimistic about Kim Caldwell, just because I think she runs some really good offensive stuff, and I think she's going to do a lot more offensively than Kelly Harper did, which was essentially stand there and watch girls dribble for 40 minutes. But I think, this is not going to be a situation that is any different than when Josh Heupel took over for Jeremy Pruitt. Kelly Harper has recruited absolutely nobody her entire tenure, and to sit here and think that the Lady Vols are just going to be really good in year one, maybe they are, and that would be an awesome testament to Kim Caldwell and what she's able to do X's and O's wise. But Kelly Harper has left this program in, granted, not in an NCAA violation type of way, but this program in shambles in a lot of ways because she hasn't recruited any freshmen. She hasn't really recruited any dynamic transfer portal people that make you feel really good about the program going into next season. And this is for lack of a better word, even after a year in which the SEC wasn't very good, this is a pretty big rebuild for the Lady Vols, just because of the situation that Kelly Harper's put them in as a program. And we can sit here and say Danny White said all the nice things about Kelly Harper, but she was a disaster. Let's not try and make it sound anything other than that. And so it's going to be a rebuild. And you look at that roster, yeah, it's small, it's not very big, and so you have to kind of pick the pieces here that you can and hope that you can be as competitive as possible, because they just from a pure on paper standpoint, they look like they're going to be bad because of the situation that the previous coach put them in.
Yeah. Well, the Vol athletic director, Danny White, Coach Iruli, he made the comment that Kim Caldwell is an up-and-coming superstar, most talented up-and-coming coach in the nation. That's a lot of pressure on somebody that's looking at a roster like this, huh?
Yeah, and, again, you look at her background, she had a lot of success at Glenville State, a Division II program in the middle of West Virginia, all right? Then she had 1 year at Marshall, and that's the experience that she's coming in at the University of Tennessee. So, of course, I like seeing those opportunities given to people coming from the lower divisions, but she's George right. She's got a long ways to go with the current roster that they have, and she's not given a team with a whole lot of talent right now, and don't have very much youth. What you mentioned is that a lot of guards. You don't have the forwards or center type right there in the program, and so yeah, she's got a lot. And again, people, when they say Tennessee's women's basketball, they always think of the Pat Summitt era.
Right, bars high.
That's a long time ago.
And that's a long time ago. And players nowadays, they really don't know too much about her anymore. And so, you got to get out of that attitude that, hey, this is Tennessee. No, it's a whole different deal right now.
Yeah,
Sure.
Marcus, there's a lot of talk that this Tennessee team may not even make the tournament next year. That would be a first.
And that's a big albatross to hang around a first-year coach.
Yes.
But Troy's right. I mean, if they don't make the tournament, and it is a real possibility, given the way the roster looks right now, that it's not her fault if that happens. I mean, if you look at that roster and look at the rest of the league, you're going to be kind of hoping they're above 500. I mean, that's the reality of where they are.
Yep.
So, there's a huge hill to climb. That doesn't mean that she can't do some things between now and then, but you're kind of limited in what moves you can still make at this point,
Yep.
even in the transfer portal, to bring in some help.
Yep.
And, she's looked good to us in what she's done in the first couple of weeks. But you're also talking about a coach, and she may prove us that she can do this, who's gone from Division II and being very successful to 1 year at Marshall, and now you're recruiting against Dawn Staley.
Yeah.
That is a huge jump.
Well,
and maybe she's capable, but she's going to have to be able to prove that.
Donnie Moore, I think with what she's got, if she pulls this rabbit out of the hat, she's got my vote for Coach of the Year before we even
definitely.
get started.
I would agree.
But anyway, if you look back at women's basketball, through the years, even if the Pat's Head Summit years here at Tennessee, those teams, and Pat always had that great player. She always went out and got one. She was lucky to get that Candace Parker.
Shamika Holt.
Yes.
Bridget
that
Gordon.
one player
Tamika Catchings.
that just brought everybody up to that next level.
Sure.
And that's still going on today. You look at the great teams around the country.
You have
They've
your
got that
one
one
superstar.
player. And that's what concerns me about Tennessee over the last several years. They haven't been able to do that, Donnie.
Haven't had
Well,
one.
They haven't been able to recruit
you had a top 4 pick in the draft on that roster, and still never really capitalized on it.
Yeah.
There was something that was said NBA draft night that has really irked me ever since, so I guess I can say it publicly. When Samantha Williams tweeted that she basically, who was assistant coach at the Lady Vols, essentially tweeted that's 4 straight years that we've had a first-round pick in the WNBA. That's cool, and I appreciate you standing up for your players and all that stuff. As a coaching staff, that makes you look really bad. And you probably should have kept that one in your pocket when you've had a kid who, like you said, that you've had a first-round WNBA talent each of the years that you were there, and you couldn't do jack diddly with them. You probably shouldn't have said something about them. And I know that she was saying it out of a frustration part because they got fired or whatnot, but that makes you look really bad. They don't look the way that you think it did.
Yeah. Donnie Moore, Candace, talking to great players, Candace Parker retired.
She did.
There a week or so ago, and what a great pro she was, 38 years old, and championships, MVP awards all over the place, college and pros. She just decided it was time. Huh?
She did.
But 38 years old, that's a pretty good run.
It really is, Mike. Candace was one of the greatest college and professional players to ever hit the floor.
Yeah. Troy, what will her legacy be as we look back on Candace Parker?
Well, I think obviously she's the most memorable Lady Vol, right? And when you talk about Pat Summitt and you talk about her dominance as a coach, to be the player that I kind of think that everybody looks at and automatically pictures in red, baby blue, and white, to be the best player that I think a lot of people assume she is for Pat Summitt, to have the career she had as a pro. She's undoubtedly one of the best women's basketball players to ever play, if not the best women's basketball player to ever play at this point in time. Obviously there are some up-and-coming kids who probably want a chance at that title in the next decade or so, but longevity-wise, accomplishment-wise, talent-wise, it's hard to say that there's ever been a women's basketball player as good, as big as Candace Parker. And so, I think that's her legacy.
She also won a couple gold medals, too.
Right.
You're going to look. She put national championship banners into the rafters.
Yep.
She's always going to be remembered for the dunks in the women's game. Her scoring record is going to stay there. She's probably the best college player that the Lady Vols have had. I think you could argue that maybe one or two of them had better professional careers afterwards, but she is always going to be linked with Pat, and because of the relationship they ended up having that was very public in how she was the coach and player, and how Pat put the load on her shoulders. Mm-hmm. I think that's always going to be there. But I'm not sure what her next step is now that she's officially retired. I do think she did a pretty good job for coming off and doing her first announcing during the NCAA men's tournament.
Awesome.
I thought she was a pretty good analyst back there in the studio that it did a lot better than I thought she would have. Not because that's another pressure cooker to be put in.
Sure is.
To be one of those four that's anchoring the studio broadcaster and all that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot less taxing, Donnie, just talking than it is playing. I think.
You can make yourself sound silly real fast.
No,
we all know
sure
that.
about that.
You ever watch Charles Barkley on TV? And I love Charles Barkley on TV, but it ain't always the easiest thing.
I guess. Hey, UT basketball, Dalton Connect. I don't think there's any surprise here. Last week was voted the Tennessee Sports Writers Association Men's Basketball Player of the Year. No surprise, I don't think. Do you, Tony?
I think that was an easy choice. That was no brainer.
It's probably unanimous. That's probably a 30-second conversation. Who you got, Dalton? Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next
We're out
one.
here.
Yeah.
Get the club. Let's go to the golf course. We don't need to spend more time here. Yeah, and what a year he had. Speaking of Tennessee basketball, they signed the Charlotte transfer that they were after.
Right.
Igor Milicic.
Hey.
Okay.
Milicic.
Yeah, you'll get it down right.
His
Okay.
dad played in the NBA.
Milicic. He committed to Rick Barnes this past 6'10", 225 pounds. He can play inside out. I saw the film on him. I like him. He looks a lot like Kadek. I mean, he can shoot the three.
Oh, don't say that. Come on now.
No, I'm not comparing him. I'm not comparing him Kadek. I'm comparing his style.
Okay.
I mean, he can shoot the outside three. He can move left. He can move right. He can play inside. He's a very versatile player. I think this is a real solid pickup for them, Troy.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to what I said last week. I just think Rick, I think when you look at all the coaches across the college basketball landscape, Rick is really winning and going about this transfer portal thing the right way. He's not just looking at a list and saying, oh, here are the top 5 guys. We got to get one of those guys. He's really honing in on making sure that he sits, evaluates, and says, how do you fit into our program, not only from a skill level point where, like you said, a guy who's versatile, he's long enough to defend, he's going to be able to hit outside shots, inside shots, handle the basketball, and do all these things for us on a basketball level, but how do you fit in personality-wise? How do you fit into us culture-wise? And I just think it's really hard for me to sit here and think of any coach in the country, men's-wise. Maybe there's a women's coach that's doing better than, but from the men's basketball perspective, it's hard for me to imagine that any coach is handling and exceeding expectations in the transfer portal as well as Rick Barnes is.
If you're looking at Milicic, you're looking at DeBar, you're looking at Opera, and if it's a trade, I'll start with you, Tony. If it's a trade between two teams and you get those 3 for Adu and Awaka,
yes.
Which how are you feeling about that trade now?
Well, I feel like you were mentioning, Barnes does such a thorough job in his evaluation of players. All right. I mean, who would have thought we get a guy last year from North Dakota State, to be the player that
Northern Colorado
or close to it.
Much smaller than North Dakota State.
But still, and they've got several guys that are assistant coaches that do a great job of the evaluations while they're and with the transfer portal. All right, the mid-major schools are really like your junior colleges. It used to be like that. They're getting these guys from the Charlottes, Northern Colorado, schools like that, and they're finding out these guys can play. And you're seeing less, even in football, less coaches going after the high school kids, and they're using that transfer portal to their benefit.
Well, I appreciate that answer, but now answer the question. How do you feel about the trade-off between the 3 that Tennessee's getting and the 2 that's exiting? Do you feel good or do you feel not so good, or how do you feel about it?
Well, I like the ones that were there this past year. I mean,
you'd rather have them?
I'd like to have them.
He's not talking about Dalton. He's just saying the guys who transferred.
The guys that transferred.
So Adu and Awaka. For the 3 that they got.
I'm just
Akpara,
right.
Milicic.
3 for 2.
And Dubar.
That's
Oh,
3 for
then
3.
I like that choice.
Yeah, I'm taking the 3.
Yeah, I'm taking
I'm
the 3.
taking a 3.
I think obviously the thing that the 3 guys that you have so far the only thing they're missing in that deal is the offensive scoring on the interior that Jonas Adu gave you. None of those guys are going to be a 13, 14 point per game guy on the inside. But I think from the versatility aspect that the wings give you, I think Okpara gives you so much more physicality defensively than Jonas Adu did. And while Awaka also had that physicality, he was so raw and developmental in it that he committed 4 fouls every 15 minutes, so you couldn't play him.
Didn't give the score.
So I think Okpara is also super athletic enough that now I kind of watched the Mavs last night, right? And you look at how the Mavs have developed that team around putting just lob threats around Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving to where they can penetrate. If you're going to collapse on us, we're going to throw it up to the rim and let one of the big guys go dunk it down. I see so much of that in Felix Okpara when Ziegler's able to get to the elbow and below and kind of harass defenses from there just to throw it up. And Felix looks so athletic that he's just going to be able to go down and throw down alley-oops. Like, he doesn't need to be a back-to-the-basket scorer. He might be able to score 10 points a game just on alley-oops and offensive rebounding. And that's all Tennessee's going to ask for.
Yeah. Now, Adu's going to play for John Calipari.
At Arkansas.
Donnie at Arkansas.
He is.
Arkansas signed
And
him
where did
up, and
Walker
then you
go
got
to?
Walker going to Arizona.
Arizona,
I mean, these are two pretty solid schools.
Yeah, they
that
are.
these guys are going to. So, what do you think? How are they going to fit in? Do you think at those places? Let's take Adu at Arkansas. You know, he's going to be facing everybody in the SEC, and he's going to have to. You know, I don't know. I assume Arkansas will be on Tennessee's schedule next year.
I would say they will be. Well, you know, depends on how well they can play defense.
Yeah.
Because you know, Coach Cal will want to play defense as well. Out there, I don't know about Arizona. You know, they'll be a good basketball team because they always are.
But I thought both of them got good. They got good, solid basketball places to go.
They
Boy.
did. Sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned Tennessee, Arkansas next year. Just given how, and I think Rick's been at this a long time, and I think he understands how words get interpreted when you say things like that. I'm really excited for that game because I know Rick pretty decently. I think he's going to draw some things up that really, really get Adu in a tangled mess when they play that game. Like, I think he's going to take advantage of that matchup because he knows who's going to know better that, hey, he doesn't like this and he doesn't want to be challenged physically here and there. That's a game where I look at and I might, if they ever make player props available in Tennessee gambling, that might be the day that I take Felix Okpara in the over in his points total that day because I think he might have a big game that day.
All right. Hey, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide high school scores and sports news from around the area, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons joins us with his feature Mark It Down. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
The Bluetick Tavern is home to the...
Welcome back to the Goatee Sports page. Donnie Moore, before we get started, we want to let our listeners know again that the Goatee Sports Page Awards program will be held May the 15th at 6 o'clock at William Blount High School. Tickets are $10, and it'll be a program that will honor the best athletes in Blount County for the year, and we're all looking forward to that. And
we are indeed, Mike. Yes, at William Blount High School, of course, like you said, and we'll have a good time, if nothing else.
And you're going to be emceeing that program, and let me tell our listeners that he's still deciding whether he's going to be like a Jimmy Kimmel or
Hey, I'm just going to be me.
You're going to be me. Well,
that's right.
Well, that'll make it a full house then, right? Donnie just bees himself.
We'll see.
It'll either be full or empty.
Yeah,
it'll be one or the other.
That's right. We'll see.
Yeah. All right, Donnie. It's
It'll
all
be
yours,
a good
bud.
time.
All right.
Thank you. Marcus,
you want a scoreboard?
Oh, we're going to do a scoreboard?
We're going to do a scoreboard.
Okay. All right. Let's do a scoreboard. Let's do a scoreboard. And as always, this scoreboard is the Mandy B. Street Realty local scoreboard. And we got a couple of baseball scores to tell you about. First of all, in tournament play, Alcoa beat up on Oneida last night in tournament play, 7-2. Greenback.
And that was the second 7-2 game because they beat them 7-2 on Thursday night as well.
Right.
So
okay.
they are now playing Pigeon Forge Monday night for the district title.
Good deal. Good deal. Greenback played Midway yesterday and squeaked out a 1-0 win over Midway, and supposedly played Oakdale in the District 4A championship at 7:45 last night, but I did not get a report on that score. So
I did not see a late report on that.
I didn't see a late report on that one. Heritage beat Loudon last night 6-1.
And Hayden Sanders, big game for him.
Good.
He came in and threw the 25 pitch max you can still throw and still play and still start the next day.
Goodness.
He did that on Thursday night. Threw 115 last night, so he was 5 short of hitting the 120 limit, but struck out 10 and worked all 7 innings and 2 hit Loudon. So it was a great performance by him because we know Jason Lambert has always got a good team coming out of Loudon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So good evening for young Mr. Sanders. Maryville faced up against Farragut and did not have a very good evening, as most teams do.
Well, there's a reason they're the number 1 team in the state.
Yeah. But Farragut whipped up on Maryville 12-1.
And let's say that they moved that game from Farragut, and it was moved over here to Maryville because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not seen for certain, but it sounded pretty sure last night that they were also going to move the tournament back over to Culture Grove again today.
Okay.
So you have an elimination game that's going on probably about 30 minutes start if they get it off on time. and then Maryville is scheduled to play the follow-on, whoever wins that game.
Gotcha. Moving to softball, don't have many scores in softball. The weather was pretty iffy yesterday, as you well know. In fact, I only have one to let you know about, and that was a Maryville-Farragut matchup too.
That one got played at Farragut.
That would have played at Farragut, okay, but that was an 8-2 Lady Admirals win over Maryville. Farragut's a pretty good softball team as well.
They are. They were the number 3 seed because they had a little bit of a bump this season, but they beat William Blount Thursday. They beat Maryville last night, so they've knocked off 1 and 2, which is going to set up a Monday where William Blount's going to play an elimination game, and then whoever win, if they win, they'll have to play Maryville, and the winner of that one's going to go back and play Farragut.
Gotcha. The District 4 2A individual tennis tournament's going on this weekend at Oak Ridge High School. So,
I didn't
dodge raindrops.
I did not see any results from yesterday, so I'm going to assume they didn't get to play very much.
I'd say you're probably right.
The
hard to play tennis in the rain.
The other tier, I believe Alcoa and Sessi are playing over in Pigeon Forge.
Okay.
And I do not think they got much of that one played either.
Probably not.
I think they got the first rounds done early in the week, but I don't think they were able to get the finals done yesterday. I could be wrong about that, but I never saw results show up yesterday for that.
Gotcha. We had some national letters of intent signed this week. Brooks Bird from William Blount High School signed with Johnson University. Going to go up and continue his academic and athletic career to pitch with Johnson U, with baseball, and going to play for former UT head coach Dave Serrano up there at Johnson U. So congratulations to Brooks Bird. Ethan Miller from William Blount signed with to play baseball up at Bryan College. Congratulations to Ethan. Brooklyn Norris from Maryville High School signed with Virginia Tech to compete on their dance team. So, congratulations to Brooklyn. Hunter Stewart from William Blount signed with Tennessee Wesleyan to go up and continue his athletic and academic career, join their baseball team. And Hunter Olivet at Maryville. I wish Tony was still here. This is a Carson Newman. We'd get a yell from Tony to compete on their fishing team.
Yes.
Yeah, great job. Congratulations to all these fine local athletes.
And there were a couple more signings at Maryville, and they'll be coming out.
They'll be coming out next week.
They'll be coming out over the weekend and early next week.
Next week's list.
But I think that was the last of the signing days that we have heard about. So there may be some more that will trickle in, but those are the big signing days have passed at this point.
We'll get them as they come in. Congratulations to the Eagleton College and Career Fishing Team, which is composed of Carson Holbert and Caleb Click. They placed 8th in the Major League Fishing High School National Open Tournament held this past weekend on Guntersville Lake in Alabama. The two fishermen weighed in almost 17 pounds of bass and will move on to the Major League Fishing High School National Championship that's coming up this June, next month. That's a lot of bass.
It is. We've also we'll have results coming back today, but I believe Alcoa is looking at qualifying a couple more teams. I'll say Alcoa, but it's the Alcoa fishing team, which represents everybody but Eagleton, which is the other 4 high schools. And they've got, I think, 5 boats qualified for nationals at this point, and I think they've got 4 of the top 12 in the for the state tournament. That's coming up in 2 weeks.
That's great. I'd like to see different sports represented.
Well, let's not get on to how different some of those sports may look next year.
I know, that's true.
You don't want to hear me rant.
I understand that. They will have lots of them sanctioned, a few more sanctioned next year.
I saw where Indiana last week has put in boys volleyball.
Yeah.
In Indiana. So we can look for that in the future maybe.
That's true. That's true. Well, I want to tell our listeners that you are listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. And now I'm going to toss it over to my friend and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons for his feature, Mark It Down.
Well, thanks, Donnie. We
welcome,
get better on
brother.
that transition every time.
Hey, we practice a lot.
Well, we can tell people we do anyway.
Yeah, they know. Yeah, as far as they know.
Yeah. So you mentioned signings. We have some of the people who were on your report earlier, and that they are joining us from Alcoa Soccer. They waded in here through the weather, and so Coach Andy Bird has joined us this morning, and he's brought a couple of the Tornadoes with him. Coach, thanks for wading in. I hope you all brought the big long shoes to get in here today, but that's kind of par for what you've been through this spring, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's we've had many rainouts, and you don't really have rainouts in soccer. The lightning out is what it should be called, because we play in it, and it's, you know, as we listen to the different tennis and baseball reports, we typically get to play, and so outside right now, that's great soccer weather for these guys. It's not too hot, and you know, afterwards, luckily, they don't have to take showers. So, you know, going forward, hopefully the weather does cooperate with us. The turf makes things a lot easier in the area, and hopefully we get more of that down. And so, going forward, I'm excited to get into the district tournament, which starts this Monday or this Tuesday, and Monday throughout the state, and I'm excited about it. I always call it the second season or the real season, because the first set of games, the regular season, is just a preparation, and seeding matters, but at the same time, you can play out of anything if you have the heart and soul to do it.
Well, you brought a lot of that heart and soul with you this morning.
Oh yeah.
So you've got four of them in here. Kind of introduce who they are and what they're bringing to the Tornado Soccer program.
Well, you have Reed Gossett, who's here with us today, and we often call him the heart and soul of the team. He plays in the center of the field, and he's a wonderful pivot player to work on the switch with us. But most importantly, I think brings a positive mental attitude every day, and works well with the younger players, and understands that service is, you know, serving your fellow teammate is what it's about. And so Reed's here to, you know, go through and talk about how great the program is and possible goals that he's going to score in the district tournament. He's not afraid to get a hold of one with his left foot and get to the back of the net, per se. And then you have Jacob Knight and Andrew Knight. Both are college signees going to Maryville College next year, which is full circle for myself. And their work ethic's unmatched. You can't find anyone who works harder than those guys, and technically and tactically sound, and really go after players. I mean, they put on their cleats, and it's a battle. It doesn't matter if they're playing against, under 19 team or an under 16 team. Whoever they play against is going to get better. That's who those guys are. And then finally we have Bacon Lauterbach, and he's in here with us tonight or today. And Bacon is probably our physical presence on the field, and plays wonderfully, has a very high soccer IQ, distributes the ball very, very well, gets his head up, looks around, sees the big picture, takes the ball where he wants to in most cases, and lastly, has a very strong work ethic as well, and it's hard to match him on the field. And you can see that in the play. If you come watch our games, you'll see that he's one of the standout players that we've had for 4 years. So, and all four of these boys have been an important part of the program for 4 years, and it's been fun watching them play for 2 years, and we're going to miss them quite a bit next year.
Well, who should I pick on first? Who's got the bravery?
I'd say you go after Reed. He's pretty smart. That's who I'd pick on the most. He's like I said, just a wonderful kid.
Well, Reed coached threw you under the bus, so feel those tires as they make their impression across your back. But Coach kind of talked about your foot a little bit. Given the schedule y'all played, which has been playing a lot of bigger schools. Do you feel like if you can score on those guys, you can score on other teams in your district and who you're going to see in this postseason?
Oh, absolutely, and I think that's part of the reason the coaches made the schedule so hard is, Coach Bird and even Coach Nix on the football team, they say if it was easy, everybody would do it. But it's the schedule we play is preparing us for the postseason, and they, sometimes it takes a little reminding when we're getting, I'd say, beat up on, but you got to find the small positives that you can take from every game. And over the course of the season, I think we've done a good job of doing that, and I think it's given us confidence to move forward in the postseason.
Does it help you all do this year after year. It feels like you've developed there's some resiliency that you all know that you can play with these bigger schools. And it seems like that always seems to translate when you get to the postseason. How do you turn anybody looking is, how do you turn a loss into something that's inspiring for postseason wins?
Well, yeah, I think part of it comes with the confidence we have in each other. We've been playing with each other as long as I can remember. We've grown up with each other, so we know what each other's good at, what each other's bad at, and we know after every game if that was a good performance from everyone or if that was a bad performance. And I think, even when we're losing, you still got to take those small positives and really just keep the confidence in each other, because that's what's going to be important later down the road.
And then I guess we can pick on Bacon a little bit, but, when we look at all the success that goes on at Alcoa, is there kind of a confidence that comes with all the teams that do so well that it's just kind of expected that you all are going to play well?
Definitely. Being from Alcoa and having the Alcoa name, you have baseball doing well right now. You have football doing well for countless number of years. Basketball, 2 repeats in a row. Softball getting a state title in the past 2 years. Every team is dominating at Alcoa, and even fishing is doing good now.
So nobody wants to be the team that's not playing for the district championship, right?
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I guess. How does this team fit together? Because some of you all have been together for a real long time. Where does this team kind of rely on when push comes to shove?
Just our positivity in each other and our trust. We all know, like as Reed said, we all know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So we just have to build off that, and we got to listen to our coaches and everything. And we just have to be positive, pretty much in our actions and off the field and on the field in our grades.
And then it's hard to pick which night to pick on first. So I'll just go alphabetically. Andrew, you guys, I saw the story earlier this week, or I guess it may have been last week, but the signing with Maryville College. First, congratulations, but secondly, does it feel kind of good to get that out of the way and have it done and settled, and now you can just play soccer as far as the rest of your season goes?
First of all, thank you for that. And, I've been working to sign with the college and get in the program. That's been the goal, ever since I get into high school. Playing club ball, too, helps with that. But, once I had that done, it's like I've been working for this for so long, and I finally got it. And it's like going to enjoy the rest of this season playing with the high school team and make the most out of it. And I think that getting that out of the way, and it's not really getting it out of the way, it's just like confirming that all of my hard work has finally found a place. And I think that now I can just go and have fun for the last few weeks of the season and really live out my senior year.
Jacob, y'all are going to get to play together on another team. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing, a really good thing. Some people will come back and be like, well, you guys have been together so long, don't you want a break? I mean, no. Like, it's like, so having someone that's like, he's like literally a copy of me, or like I'm a copy of him. So like, it's so easy for us to just get along and be able to like work together really well. And going to the same college, playing on the same team for another few years, I think it's gonna be really beneficial for us, and especially having all the experience of us playing like high school and club ball for like 10 years, where it's just gonna make us excel at the college level.
Coach, are you ever tempted to play games with I'm putting this night in, they'll think it's the other one, or kind of move them around to play with coach's mind?
No, not really. It's great to see them because you can put them on opposite ends of the field, and eventually they'll find each other. And so that's kind of a fun tactic that we messed around with a little bit because, like they both said, they know where they are. And really, if you look at all the kids on the team, especially the seniors, they've been playing since they were in kindergarten together. And there's been people come and go, but at the same time, they know where each other are on the field, and it's kind of fun to watch that chemistry. And it's a blessing as a coach for them to have it, but also as they go through the rest of this postseason and win the state championship. Next year, we're going to have our hands full when we're trying to replace these pretty much 11 seniors that we have right now on the team because, we have a foreign exchange student as well. So it's been a blessing to be able to watch these guys play.
So I want to come back to that because there's always a question there. But you said something earlier that reminds me very much of what Robbie Bennett has said for the last 20 years, that the regular season is just a very long preseason because it doesn't matter. It matters what you do in the tournament.
Right.
So tournament, like you said, is coming up. Kind of break down who is in this district because this is not the cast of characters we're used to seeing Alcoa having to play.
Right.
Kind of break down this district and how this tournament's going to work for you guys.
Well, we've moved to AA. So within AA, you obviously have a higher number of kids at each school. And typically, in theory, you're producing bigger, faster, stronger players. At least there's a bigger pool. That doesn't necessarily translate to the truth. But if you look at the new district that we're in, a new region that we're in, and sectional opponents that we will have to play, you definitely have a bigger, faster, stronger group of boys and players that you have to go after. So you've got Sequoia, who's a budding team, and I'm sure that TSSAA looked at that one and said, well, they can also go down to Chattanooga area as well. So that was kind of the one. And then you've got Lenoir City, who just came out of AAA, who's a quality team who's had some really close games with Hardin Valley and Farragut and Maryville in the District of Death. And they came down to AA now. And then you've got South Doyle, who's put together a quality program there. They've got a foreign exchange student that he can absolutely play. And then you've got Loudon, who's a group of kids who are really scrappy, and they've taken their personality of their head coach. And when they step on the field, that's one that a lot of people sleep on, but you can't sleep on them. We played them very well in our first game, but when we play them again, if we do play them again, you can't sleep on them. I think maybe in some of our other, earlier, and I can only speak for last year, but you had some A teams that were, in our district last year that, struggled sometimes to find a team. They couldn't field a team. But now I think it fits us much better to where we can't sleep on anyone. You've got to come with your boots strapped on, ready to go every single time you hit the turf or the grass.
Well, I'm not ready to christen this district another district of death, but
no.
I'm going to say it's a district of bruises.
Oh, yes.
Because this is when I look down, all of these programs are established. All of them have had success in their past, and all of them are drawing on, a program identity that is very, very scrappy.
Oh, yes.
So there is a lot. There's a challenge to get through this district tournament and get through it. Where does that start for you guys? What's the first round game?
We go Tuesday, 7 o'clock at Alcoa versus Lenoir City. So we're excited to play those guys.
So that's the cry for all the Alcoa fans.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock Tuesday night down at the elementary school.
Yes.
Come out to see these guys and get them started in the postseason the right way. And I guess you said 11 seniors. You got some of them here. When you got that many seniors, it can be a real blessing, and it can also put that thought in your back of your mind, what are we going to do next year? Talk a little bit about the blessing side of this. When you've got that much experience to draw on, what does that allow you to do?
Well, you look down your bench and you've got subs. That's the best thing because you can have subs come in and play sometimes better than the starters. I think we sometimes have kids that play better when they come in literally off the bench. It kind of takes away that pressure, that starting pressure. But then you've got 11 or so seniors that know each other, that trust each other, that have grown up with each other, that are listening right now, that are excited to go find a field tomorrow to go knock the ball around a little bit on, and then excited to come to practice on Monday, and then excited to take care of business on Tuesday. And so, I was talking with one of our coaches of one of the state championships teams earlier, and he was like, "You'd think during practices this year I didn't do a thing." He goes, "You come in and you think I was a goofball because I'm just sitting around letting them play." So a lot of the times, for example, yesterday in practice, I went and found a chair and sat down and just watched them. And it's fun. It's enjoyment. And that's what coaching is about, is watching the kids, take what you've taught them and take what they've been taught and apply it in the field and have a good time and enjoy each other and love each other, essentially. And so watching that chemistry, watching that respect that they have for each other, it's been a blessing this year.
Well, I got a couple quick questions to torture these guys with before we get them out of here.
Definitely.
So, Reed, we're going to start with you. The senior class, we talked about it. It's fairly close. Y'all been playing together for a while. Who's got the best nickname from this group?
Talking about seniors.
Well, you can expand it to anybody on the team, but
we call our center back Kyron Tyson. Call him Chico Sanchez. We call him.
We'll go with that one, and I'll pick on Bacon too. What's the best phrase Coach has when he's not really listening that you all kind of mimic? Is there a phrase where you repeat it to each other?
Do you get it? Do you get it? Always says that one.
Coach, you've made your impression.
That's great. I'm not sure what they're getting, but I don't know if they got it.
And then I'll put this for any of you. You can even vote on it. Who is the social media king of the team? Who is the one y'all can depend on? Who's always going to have the latest of what's going on?
B-Dreams.
Yeah. Brain Haas, that's debatable. I'll say Bauman. Bauman could be thrown in there.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because everybody has one.
Yeah.
There's one who always knows what's going on and never seems like their phone is attached. It's just part of their hand. But anyway, guys, we wish you the best of luck. We keep the open challenge that we always love to have teams come back in here with their state championship trophy and put it up here on the table, so you can always win your way back on the show. Not that you needed any additional incentive, but hanging out with us on a Saturday morning's got to be something. I don't know, maybe it can be punishment if they don't. But we appreciate y'all coming in, and wish y'all the best of luck in the district tournament.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mike, I think go ahead and turn the page.
Thanks, Marcus. Time to turn the page, and up next will be the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Bluetick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the Goatee Sports Player of the Week segment. And it's sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority, proudly serving Blount County for over 75 years. We're going to go a little off script this morning.
Well, we had our Players of the Week come in early, so we're a little bit off with the segment names. But again, thanks to Alcoa Soccer for coming in and working us in, because they had to get to some youth league games that they were working this morning. So again, thanks to Coach Andy Burke for bringing them in.
Yes, well, we got plenty of sports going on that we can talk about. I had a little left over from the Tennessee basketball segment, and Troy, and I got Marcus here, and I got Donnie Moore, and Rick Barnes has got a couple of scholarships left.
Yeah,
he's got a couple of scholarships left, and what's the need there?
Where do we apply?
Where do we go? Where does he go from here?
Right now, I think the biggest need is a backup point guard, somebody that can handle the ball when Zakai's off the floor, maybe even handle the ball when Zakai is on the floor if you kind of want to go with the 2-point guard system and kind of free Zakai up for some shots. I think that's got to be the biggest need right now, is kind of a guy. And I know that they think that Gainey can kind of be that backup point guard, but with the scholarships you have, with the way the rotation kind of looks right now, I think you already look like a pretty deep team at the moment. I don't think it would hurt to get another, ball-handling guard just for, it never hurts to have too many of those.
Yeah. But that's such a tough sell, because you're selling somebody to come in and not be a starter at point guard.
Out of the portal.
It'll undoubtedly have to be a mid-major guy who has at least 2 years of eligibility left. You can say, hey, come here, be Zakai's backup. You'll still get your minutes, but you won't be a starter. You'll kind of learn the system. And then you'll be able to be the starting point guard after this year.
They could sign somebody that fits that bill as a backup, but can shoot the ball, because I still think they need somebody else from the outside that can shoot the ball from the guard position. What do you think?
I think they need another option, just because even having Dalton, you saw games where they just struggled to find somebody who was on. And I feel like you need another option of somebody else that might have the hot hand that night that you can go to, because so many times it felt like if one was off, they were all off. And I don't know if that's a part of the system or a part of how the chemistry worked, but it just feels like you need another option available there.
Yeah.
That's a legitimate scoring threat, not just somebody that can just throw it up.
Well, scoring's I've got some question marks right now about scoring, because even with these guys coming in the transfer portal, Troy, there's nobody there that's a prolific scorer, so to speak, from where they've come from.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of putting everything together again next year to see what you've got. But right now, if you're looking on paper, there's not a lot of points right there on paper, is there?
Well, I mean, I think it just depends on kind of what you want. I mean, are you going to get a guy who comes in and scores 25, 30 a night like Dalton did? Probably not. But if you can get what it looks like to be is if you have 4, 5, 6 guys that you feel can score 10 to 15 points a game, then you're a really deep team. I think that poses a bigger problem. I think you can say whatever you want about Zach Edey, the whistle, the refs, however that game ended. I think the biggest problem from that game and that loss to Purdue is the fact that outside of Dalton, who did they have that was a consistent scorer or a real threat? I don't think Zakai played particularly well. Josiah, Jordan James, on and off all season. Santiago Vescovi, on and off all season. I thought they should have played Jordan Gainey more. Obviously, that didn't happen. So you didn't really have a legitimate, consistent second scoring threat in that game. And so, yeah, having the guy that you know is going to score 25 plus is awesome. But I think you look at this team on paper, again, that doesn't really matter once you tip the ball off and how it plays, but on paper you look at guys and you say they're going to have some options that at any given point you know one guy is going to score 15. Have some reliable guys that you think are going to score in double digits, and if you do that consistently enough, you have 4 or 5 guys who do that on a consistent level, you're going to win a lot of basketball games.
And, it's going to be new no matter what because you're not going to have Vescovi. Yeah. You're not going to have Triple J. Those guys have been stalwarts for so long. It's going to be a new chemistry, and there's going to be a new feel in how some of these things are done.
You're not going to have Connect either.
Yeah. Well, he fit in for 1 year, and he took a lead role, and you saw those two take a step back. But those were fifth-year guys.
Right.
So, you're going back to, 2019 since the last time those two went on the court?
Just 5? They've just been here 5 years? Is that all? Seems like they've been here for about 7 or 8.
Yeah. Well, and that's my point is you're going to have a new – your whole performance on the outside is going to look different.
Sure, I agree.
And it's going to be different, and it's going to be a different skill sets out there.
Yeah, and most coaches, when they come back from year to year, are looking at how many veteran players have I got back. That's what but this team doesn't have that. But maybe it's not all that important with the transfer portal out there now where you can go get people and fill in all the gaps and so forth. And Barnes is so far, he's been a master at that.
It sure makes a difference.
He's been a master.
You're right. That's what Troy was saying earlier. He works the transfer portal so well.
He evaluates so well, I'll say that.
Yes.
And he evaluates at a different level.
Yes,
and I think that was something that got kind of, because of Dalton's success, it kind of got over-examined a little bit. But he does do a good job of evaluating the talent that's out there and how they mesh.
Yeah. So, Troy, with all that being said, and it's not looking like a lot of points right there, we really don't know what's going to transpire until we get into some of the preseason games and some of the early season games, so to speak, and see how people come out and how they play and perform and get the feel of everything. But do you see maybe this team going back to a return of the old Rick Barnes next season, where he plays a lot of defense and prevents people from going to the basket, physicality in the game, and seeing scores maybe in the 60s and that type of thing again, rather than outscoring people like we had this year with Dalton Connect coming aboard?
I don't think it'll be a team that I think. Like I said, I think that it looks like a very versatile offensive team that I think is going to cause a lot of problems defensively for opponents. You just have so much length, so many guys who can score inside, outside, and kind of do damage from all over the court. I really like that from an offensive perspective. But it also, that kind of goes on the flip side of that too. I think they're a really long team that's going to cause a lot of problems for teams when they're on defense. Like Dubar, 6'9", long. Milicic, 6'8", long. Like, these guys are going to be terrors out there. Obviously, we know what Zakai does at the top there with kind of how he pressures people. And so Okpara, he's one of probably the best rim protectors in the country, averaging 3 blocks a game and kind of minimal minutes too at Ohio State. Like, they're going to be really good defensively. Is it a thing where I think that they're going to try and win games 60-50? I don't know. I mean, I think they're going to be capable of that. But I also do think there's some versatility in this offense that is going to allow them to be successful on that end too.
16 teams be in the league next season. It's going to get tougher.
That'll be
Texas and Oklahoma coming in, both strong in football and basketball and all the other sports too. And you're not going to have I assume you're not going to have the divisions. Is that correct next year?
No divisions.
No division next year. So, golly, that's going to really make the league tougher. It's going to be tougher to win a championship because you're not going to have two. You're just going to have an SEC champion, so to speak.
It's really going to be important to get into – if you can finish in that top 4, if you can avoid playing some of those early days in the postseason, no matter what sport, you're going to be ahead of the game.
Yeah. That brings me to my next question. I thought I was going to get by a show without talking about NIL.
No, I thought we were so close.
NIL deals. But
so close.
I'm wondering, there's a lot of big money, being put out there. I think it's obvious that that's happening, whether it's put out there public or not, but it's taking place. Corporations are giving money to the NIL projects, individuals. Troy, do you see this? My question is, how long do you think this will last? Do you think it'll grow? Do you think it'll level off? It'll become less? The reason I'm saying that is because are these people putting all this big money in there right now? Are they going to be satisfied with teams not winning championships? Are they going to be satisfied with a 7-5 or an 8-4 or a 9-3? Or do you think after a period of time they're going to get tired of that, where the teams they're putting this money in aren't really showing all that much progress, and it's going to start to drop off or at least level out?
I don't think so. It's gonna sound bad, but I think all of us sports fans to a certain extent have a certain level of delusion, right? And so I think it'll be the flip side. I think if you're let's just say for just for hypothetical sake, if you're in Arkansas and you spend $5 million in NIL and the season doesn't go how you expected, I think that the people who are willing to spend the $5 million don't really see a problem with going up to $6 or $7 million and trying to hope that extra $1-2 million makes the difference and turns the tide. I think that there's just a certain level of delusion that all sports fans have. I think if you're if you really invest yourself in this and you really care, that's kind of the mentality we all get. I sit here and every year I know the Cowboys are going to lose a heartbreaking game in the playoffs. I still root for it not to happen. I know it's going to happen, So I think there's just that level of delusion that's always going to be around of, well, maybe if we do this, we can turn the tide, or maybe if we can get this guy or this guy, that changes things. I don't see it stopping in a way that all of a sudden now, we spent $5 million the last 3 years and we've been bad. Let's not do it anymore. What more likely is to happen is, well, we spent $5 million the last 3 years. This coach sucks. Let's get rid of him and let's give the $5 million to a coach we think can do the job.
Yeah, Marcus, what do you think? You think it's going to stay the same? It's going to improve?
No,
it's going to go up, or you think it's going to go down, or what over time?
I think with the cases that are pending in court and the pushes for legislation in various corners and how those might be picked up by a federal law, that we're rapidly going to see a standardization of one form or another. We're going to see a minimum. We're going to see a maximum. We're going to see the players treated like professionals, for better or worse, because right now a college player, they don't have a contract. They don't have any of the limitations that a true pro athlete playing in the NBA or NFL have. I think you're going to see that type of control taken by the schools, because the way it is now, where players can come and go and leave, and I don't see that continuing, because it's in the long term it's bad for the schools.
Yeah.
So I think there will be a standardization of sorts, and it will be where even the guy who's the third team offensive lineman as a freshman will get something, so that schools can return to a sense of development and not feel like they're putting money to develop a guy who's just going to leave when he's good.
Yeah. I think that's a good point, Donnie. Do you think that that schools, they like to promote the student-athlete aspect, and with all this money being tossed around out there, deep down, how do you think they really feel about all of that?
Well, I think that they're, that's what they've been. I mean, that's something that they've been doing for a long, long time, Mike. But I don't think that's what they really. They have to do that. They have to promote that as a student athlete, because universities and colleges promote students. but athletes, I think from now on it's going to be students in lowercase letters and athletes in capital letters.
Yeah, that's sort of where it is right now.
Yeah.
Do you think, Marcus, in what you were talking about there, maybe some guidelines and a cap on what can be made? What about will there be a cap on how many times they can transfer?
I think that will come with it to a degree. There will be a limit to how many. And I think they're going to do that simply by enforcing some of the academic rules that are being ignored right now as far as eligibility goes, because with all the transferring, there is no way some of these guys have the credits to have the class standing they are supposed to have because they've lost so many credits that didn't transfer.
Well, is that going to come from the schools, or is that going to,
I
is the
think
NCAA going to step back in and limit the
If the
transfers?
NCAA doesn't do it, I believe the conferences will, because I think at this point the SEC and the Big Ten have the power to implement those sort of rules.
I think they're going to have to, because I don't think the NCAA is going to have.
If their presidents agree on it, it will happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of just happened with John L. Davis, the FAU guard who committed to play for Dusty May at Michigan and obviously didn't get into Michigan, so he can't transfer to Michigan. And so I think, I think what Marcus is right. I think we're going to see more of that where it's going to be like, hey, if you're transferring, fine, transfer. But you actually have to be able to get into the school you want. You don't just get to
You can't be a graduate transfer if you didn't graduate.
Yeah.
True that, yeah. Because the NCAA just lifted the restrictions on transfers,
Yeah.
So I think it's going to have to come from the conferences themselves.
And I think it will. I mean, I just think that there's a point where the presidents will reassert some more control than the athletic directors have. And
I think it's going to have to,
because if everybody buys in, yes, somebody's going to push the rules. That's going to happen. But to keep it from just totally devolving into chaos,
spiraling out of control. Yeah.
Because then you're going to have people. You're going to have your teams are going to get in trades in the middle of the year. I mean, is that what we're going to be with college? Because that's the alternative. They're going to be able to. Because
I don't think we'll ever get to that point.
If the school holds their NIL agreement, which is where it's kind of heading with some of these, they could literally trade their NIL agreement to another school.
Yeah. Well,
I would like to think it never gets to that point. Where one December, Johnny from down the road is playing for Pitt, and then he comes in January, and all of a sudden he's wearing a Syracuse jersey. I hope it never comes to that.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, I could just see it now. Trades like the pros. Huh?
Yeah.
In the middle of the season.
Yes.
I don't want that.
Yeah, you're in last place in the SEC, and you're going, I've got 5 players on the market right here. If you've got, I'll take 3 for 5, or I might just take 2 for these 5.
Mid-season sale.
I'll tell you what. I'll trade these guys now if you'll give me 3 of your scholarships to use for the next 4 years.
Yeah, that's crazy. Hey, I did see, Troy, that Joe Lenardi's already come out with his bracketology for next year.
What do you got? I'm not looking at that.
He's got Tennessee as a number 4 seed in next year's tournament. Number 4
seed.
with this all-star team that he's got coming in.
Sometimes I wonder, and I know really Joe is really only of use after the new year, so he really gets like 3 really good years of he gets 3 really good months of work every year. After March, Joe, go back to the den, turn on the TV, and
hibernate.
Do whatever you need to do. If the wife if the wife is bothering you that much, go into the man cave, watch some TV, watch some golf. I don't want to see. We don't even know what any of these teams are going to look like.
Yeah.
What they play like. I don't want a bracketology in May. I just don't.
Hey, Marcus, before we get out of here, Tennessee has sold out in season football tickets.
Yep.
They've sold out next year.
I heard you bought 10.
And I'm going, these people around here are going, that daggum Barden, the gas is so high, I can't afford groceries.
Yeah.
Mildred, have our tickets come?
Yeah,
that's it. Have our UT tickets come yet?
Give up your season tickets. I heard you bought season tickets for all of us at the show. We appreciate that, Mike.
No, but anyway, second year in a row, I believe, right?
It is the second year in a row, and I won't say shocked, but I'm at least mildly surprised given the jump in some of the ticket prices that have come down that they sold them all out.
Yeah, well, the expectations are high, and
They called me.
yeah, they did call you?
They called me and asked me if I wanted them. I said, teachers don't make that much money.
I see. I see. Couldn't make a donation.
No.
Couldn't make the donation.
No.
Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, it's the Boyd's Sports Spotlight as Goatee's Sports Page veteran Donnie Moore will be up. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd's Sports Spotlight. And first up is going to be Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore. So, Donnie, it looks like you got a lot going over there. Spill it out.
Got some things for us. All right, first up is the sports headlines of the week, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. The 150th Run for the Roses is finally here. Post time is 6:57 p.m. this evening at the world-famous Churchill Downs. Most of the world will stop to watch or listen for a couple of minutes to follow the progress of the thoroughbreds as they make their way around what could be a wet and muddy track to earn the blanket of roses and a cool $5 million for their owners. Fierceness is the favorite, but hey, who knows?
Yeah, they keep moving that time, don't they? It seemed like in the old days it was 5 o'clock, and then they moved it back to 5:45 or 5:55. It's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
The race is at 7?
Yes.
You're going to turn the lights on?
6:57. Yeah, they'll have to. It's going to be
All
cloudy
them
and
people will be so
cloudy and
drunk
dark.
There'll be so many people drunk they won't even be standing up to watch the daggum race.
They'll sell out of mint juleps up there, won't they?
Absolutely. Them things will
tell
be
you.
long gone.
Yeah, they will.
And obviously they've got a lot of maybe more races, leading up to the Derby because they have a lot of races. Everybody be out of money.
Yeah,
Time
sure
to get
will.
to the
Derby.
Derby.
No doubt. Well, we'll
All
see
right.
what goes.
All right.
We're going to give our picks in a little while.
Yeah, we are going to give our picks, and
Okay.
hopefully they don't get any rain there. But
I hope not, too.
I don't know.
Nothing worse than a muddy track.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron Rodgers, whose New York Jets debut was cut short just 4 snaps into the 2023 regular season when he suffered a torn Achilles tendon in Week 1 versus the Bills, is back.
Oh, yeah.
Rodgers, 40, is expected to be a full participant 8 months and 9 days from the injury for the Jets' organized team activities workout on May the 20th. Per head coach Robert Saleh, once the OTAs begin, that's organized team activities, the team doesn't anticipate any restrictions on what Rodgers can or can't do.
I wouldn't let him play an exhibition game for any amount of money. Would you, Troy? Huh? I might let him run out there through the tunnel or whatever they have there on the field to stand on the sideline. But
Well, he's the oldest player in the NFL.
Yep, 40 years old.
Say what you want about Zach Wilson. They traded him. So if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, now I agree with you, Mike. I wouldn't let him even see a football field until Week 1.
He's been out there doing just about everything they do.
In bubble wrap.
In bubble wrap,
I wouldn't let him touch a football field until Week 1 because if he gets hurt, again,
oh, he's done.
They're going to – well, not only is he done, they're done. They're going to stink.
That's exactly right.
all those
to
fans,
high heck.
All those fans bought those tickets last year. Now they've come back and bought all those tickets.
And
why would you put him in a preseason game?
They're going to be like that old song, Dead Skunk in the middle of the road.
So all my best
best
friends are Jets fans because they grew up in New York, right? And they all I heard last offseason, Aaron Rodgers.
Wait till he's back.
That's all you do hear from Jets
But
fans.
here's the thing. I was late to that Sunday night game. I didn't even get to the TV in time. So I turn on the TV, and Zach Wilson's out there, and I go, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, he got hurt 4 snaps in, and I check my group message, and just the depression, the sadness in there
it was
was overwhelming.
It was
And
awful.
so I hope he stays healthy for their sake. I don't really care too
I do
much for
too.
Aaron Rodgers as a person. But for my best friend's sake, I really do hope he stays healthy and they have a somewhat decent year.
Yep. Well, the L.A. Lakers fired head coach Darvin Ham yesterday, only 4 days after they were eliminated from the playoffs by the Denver Nuggets for the second consecutive season. Ham coached the Lakers for 2 seasons, going 90-74 in the regular season and 9-12 in the playoffs. Last year, the Lakers reached the Western Conference Finals as the 7 seed and were swept by Denver. This season, again the 7 seed, L.A. lost to the Nuggets 4-1 in the first round.
Hey, look, there are some certain telltale signs that you're going to get fired as a coach. One of them is when you're getting your butt kicked on national television, you call a timeout, and they show the camera of you in the huddle, and you draw up a play. And remember, you only get 30 seconds a minute in these timeouts. Mike, you're a former basketball coach. You know this. And so you spend 30 of your seconds drawing up half a play, and midway through drawing it up, you realize, oh, that's not right, and you erase it. That happened, I think, in like Game 4, and that was a telltale sign. This guy's gone.
Yep.
He ain't got no chance of coming back because he ain't got no earthly idea what's going on.
He gone.
But if you're that coach, I mean, are you really drawing something up, or are you really saying, LeBron, what do you want to do?
Well, that would have been better than him faking like he was drawing up a play for 30 seconds. The optic, even if that was the case, the optic didn't look too good when he had 3 O's on the board, 3 X's, and then went, oh, that's not right, and erased it. And 40 of your seconds are gone, Darvin.
But it's so different because you can, if you think back on the Laker legacy that I grew up with, like you saw Pat Riley actually directing All-Star, like telling Magic and Kareem what he wanted them to do. It wasn't him consulting with them. If that went on, it went on in the locker room long before they got on the court.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it seems like if you've got the two or three superstars on your team, the coach's job is to keep them playing nice together.
But that's the thing, is I think Anthony Davis and LeBron James actually really like each other. Like, they seem to get along really well. And you have those two on your team. Both of them stayed healthy this year throughout the entire season, which hasn't happened since they've both become Lakers. You get nice pieces in Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura. And, like, that's not a bad basketball team. You add Taurean Prince in the offseason. Like, that's a good basketball team. And when throughout the year, just like when things went wrong, you get those guys who I think LeBron gets a lot of hate for always how his coaches act and stuff, and I think maybe he's helped that narrative in a little bit. But when you have guys who are sitting there going, man, we were out there and sometimes it just didn't feel like we knew what we were doing. Well, the coach has got to draw something up. He's got to be able to do something, and just at points this year, and I know I watch a lot more NBA than you guys do. At points this year, it felt I hate being so mean to people. It felt like Kelly Harper was coaching the basketball.
Wow, you are just getting mean to people.
It felt like Kelly Harper was coaching the Lakers this year, where Darvin Ham would just sit there and you'd be like, they're not running anything. They're not running anything. They're just playing. They're just bouncing the basketball and passing it to each other.
Just playing street ball.
Is Jack Nicklaus still coming to the games out there?
Is he still alive?
He used to sit on the front row.
Well, I know that.
Maybe that's the problem. He's not coming anymore to the games. I don't know.
He may not be. I don't know. I don't watch NBA. Well, due to the overwhelming success of last year's Las Vegas Grand Prix, Formula One race promoters have announced it will return for 2024, albeit at the same start time. The green flag for the race will drop at 10 p.m. Vegas time, but that's 1 a.m. Eastern time. Along with Miami and Austin, Texas, that's 3 Formula One races hosted on American soil.
We lost the Nashville race? Do we have a
that's
Nashville race?
IndyCar.
That's IndyCar. Okay.
That's IndyCar. No, we got 3 Formula One races and no team.
No
they
team.
won't let Andretti Racing into Formula One.
Nope.
You know, he wants in and put an American driver in there.
Yeah.
You got 3 races in
3
the United
races,
States,
but no team.
And no team.
Mike and I
That's crazy.
Mike and I are going to go to the Miami race next year.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Yeah, you better take your bank account down
Yeah,
there.
you better. That's right.
What bank
But
account?
You better
looked
take
like a great-
all your Bitcoin down there.
It looked like they did a great job down there at Miami, though, with
did.
that Grand Prix down there. That
Yeah.
was impressive.
Mike,
Yeah.
we're just going to fly down there and go to the highest building we can and just watch from the
just
top of
watch
the
'em.
building.
Yeah.
You don't got to buy a ticket for
Top
it.
of the Fontainebleau
Yeah,
Hotel.
exactly.
Well, if you've never been to a Grand Prix race, it's something to see. I went to Indianapolis when they had it up there for, I think they had it 6 years, and it's fascinating. It's sort of a cross between the Indy 500 and the Olympics. You know, everybody
Yep.
up there rating their, flying their country flags and all this. It's a kind of a refreshing deal.
Yeah, it
you know.
is. Well, Odell Beckham Jr. is signing a 1-year contract with the Miami Dolphins, a deal that is reportedly worth up to $8.25 million. Beckham, 31, spent last season with the Baltimore Ravens and appeared in 14 games. He played for the LA Rams in 2021, but tore the ACL in his left knee. Prior to that, he was with the Browns, where he also sustained a left knee ACL tear. He began his career in New York with the Giants, who took him with the 12th overall pick of the 2014 NFL Draft. In 9 seasons, Beckham has 566 receptions for 7,932 yards and 59 touchdowns. Good luck, Odell. Denny Hamlin took the checkers with the Worth 400 Sunday afternoon at Dover Motor Speedway. It was Hamlin's 3rd win of 2024 and the 54th of his career, knotting him with the legendary Lee Petty for 12th place all time. Kyle Larson took 2nd, followed by Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, and Chase Elliott.
Kyle Larson warming up for the dual race at Indianapolis.
That's
he's
right.
going to be in the 500, and he's going to take a.
But what he said
he's
afterwards.
going to take a plane to Charlotte for the 600. How many miles is that? 1,100 miles.
That's a lot.
1,100
That's a
miles,
lot
2
of
races
traveling.
in one day.
Yeah.
But what Hamlin said after that, because he wins, but he tends to win early in the season.
Yeah, he does.
He does, and he's never won a championship. And they were pestering him about it because it's his 3rd win of the season. And he said, worse drivers than me have won championships.
I know, yeah.
And which naturally leads, well, who are the guys you think are worse than you that have won those?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
At least he's being honest.
I guess, but I mean, then you're like, who are you going to start listing, and who are you going to aggravate? Because it's not like, I mean, NASCAR drivers have a very small following that like them, and a much larger following that like to boo them.
I would have just kept my mouth shut there. On this day in sport, May 4th, May the 4th, may the 4th be with you.
Indeed.
By the way. 1893, going all the way back to 1893, Cowboy Bill Pickett invents bulldogging. which is grabbing steers by the horns and wrestling them down. Bill Pickett, I've heard that name before. 1919, the first legal Sunday baseball game in New York City. 35,000 witnessed the Phillies beat the New York Giants 4-3. 1929, Lou Gehrig hits 3 consecutive home runs. The Yanks beat the Tigers 11-9. 1963, moving up to modern-day baseball. 1963, pitcher Bob Shaw sets a modern-day record, 5 balks in one game.
5 balks.
5 balks, yep. 1965, Willie Mays hits his 512th home run, breaking Mel Ott's National League record of 511. 1973, the longest game in Philadelphia's Veterans Stadium. Phillies beat the Braves 5-4 in 20 innings. That's a long baseball game. 1975, Houston's Bob Watson scores baseball's 1 millionth run of all time.
Wow.
Oh, wow. How'd you like to be in that statistician that kept that one? 1984, Dave Kingman's fly ball never comes down. It gets stuck in Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome ceiling. 2002, Barry Bonds hits his 400th home run as a San Francisco Giant. He becomes the first player with 400 homers for one team plus 100 with another team. You might know what that other team was?
I don't know.
Pirates.
The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yep. 2018, the Angels' first baseman Albert Pujols collects his 3,000th hit in a 5-0 win versus the Mariners in Seattle. The birthdays, let's go have a couple of birthdays for you right here. 1949, born on this day, American drag racer John Force. Great name in drag racing. 16-time National Hot Rod Association champion, born in Bell Gardens, California.
And his daughter's married to Graham Rahal.
Yep, sure is.
Drives an IndyCar series.
How do you know that?
How do you not know that?
Yeah, how do you not?
Brittany Ford. Is it Brittany Ford?
Yeah, Brittany Ford.
Yeah.
Not born on this day in 1970, we mentioned her earlier, Dawn Staley, Hall of Fame basketball guard, 6-time WNBA All-Star, played for the Sting and the Comets, won Olympic gold in 96 and 2000 and 04. Coach won Olympic gold in 20 for the Olympic team, born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Happy birthday, Dawn. Born on this day in 1989, Irish golfer Rory McIlroy has won 7 majors, born in not Hollywood, but Holywood, Northern Ireland. One death occurred on this day in 2020. American Pro Football Hall of Fame coach Don Shula. Super Bowls, went to Super Bowls in 72 and 73. Coached the Dolphins and the Colts, Baltimore Colts. National Football Coach of the Year, National Football League Coach of the Year in 1964, 67, 68, and 72. Died at the age of 90. Well, that's it for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. Now let's bring the Boyd Sports Spotlight into sharp focus. Back to you, Gunner.
This is Mike Edwards, and I'm here with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Troy Provo Heron, and today is the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby. And Donnie Moore, one of the things that's so impressive about the Derby is those 150 straight years. There was no interruption during World War I or World War II or anything else.
Straight
150 straight years, which is almost unbelievable. But I put together a few things that go on at the Derby, and one of the things that I thought was impressive is how much people eat. You know, there's a lot of people there at the Kentucky Derby, and today when it's raining, I don't know, rain kind of makes you hungry, I guess, but we'll see if they can break these records. But 142,000 hot dogs will be eaten, 18,000 barbecue sandwiches, 13,800 pounds of beef, 32,400 jumbo shrimp, 9,000 scallops, 8,000 pounds of potatoes, 30,000 cookies, and 300,000 strawberries.
Sounds pretty good.
Wow.
No listing for Tums. No listing for Tums after you eat all of that, but that's what 19 past winners have won the Kentucky Derby, and their names letter S. 19 past winners have names beginning with the letters S, the letter S. I thought this was interesting. Out of 28 of the first Kentucky Derby winners, 15 of them were won by black jockeys. And in my lifetime, I don't know of any black jockeys. There are jockeys of other nationalities, but I don't know in my lifetime if I have ever. I don't believe there's ever been one in the Kentucky Derby, but I thought that was interesting. Marcus and Donnie went way back in his report there on things that's happened in the past, but only three horses ran in the 1892 and the 1905 Kentucky Derby. Only three horses. Well, there you go. You got to pick the first three. There's only three running.
That's a pretty easy trifecta to win.
Yes, sir. You're going to win something. You're going to win something. First three horses pay
well,
something.
but if you go Winshore Place and somebody falls down.
Yeah. 120,000 mint juleps be consumed.
Goodness. Oh, how many?
120,000.
120,000.
120. Yeah. I thought you said 120, and I was like,
120,
really?
By one person.
Yeah.
That's the average per capita?
You got a good mint julep recipe?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
I don't think I've ever had a mint julep.
I would have one today.
I don't think I've ever had
one today.
The youngest jockey to win the Kentucky Derby, age 15, Alonzo Lonnie Clayton, did it in 1892, and James Soup Perkins did it in 1895. Both of them were 15 years old.
Good grief, 15-year-old jockey.
And the oldest, Bill Shoemaker. Okay. 54.
Goodness. Boy, he was a great one. He's still, he's a great jockey.
Blanket of Roses weigh 40 pounds. 400 roses, 40 pounds. Put on the horse.
Yeah, let's put more on the horse.
Marcus, how do they work birthdays for the horses? Do you know that?
How do they work them?
Yeah, how do they work birthdays?
You mean do they put icing on some hay?
No,
and
how do they work it? How do you have a birthday? I have a birthday.
Yeah, they don't. I'm not sure how they do that because they don't tell exactly when the horse was born.
I would assume that's how you would do the birthday, though. When was the horse born?
All thoroughbred horses have the same birthday, January the 1st. January.
Yeah, I knew that was. I knew it was something like that.
I don't care when you came out. Your birthday's January the 1st with horses.
I knew it was something like that.
Yeah, and of course 3-year-olds run the Derby.
Yeah,
3-year-olds. Yeah. More winning horses come from Kentucky than any other state. More winning horses have come from Kentucky than any other state.
That makes sense.
Starting positions number 5 and number 10 have produced the most winners.
Okay.
And the maximum number of horses that can start the Derby, the number that's there today, 20.
Right, 20.
20 can start the Derby.
There's 21.
No, there's 20.
One's a scratch.
One's a scratch.
Oh, okay.
Encino was a scratch.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's the one I was going to bet on, too.
We're going to bet on
yeah.
Encino. No horses with the names beginning with Q, X, or Y have ever won the Kentucky Derby.
Why is that?
I don't know.
My list still has 21 posts.
Nobody by the last name Smith has ever won the Indianapolis 500. I don't believe there's ever been a Smith in the Indianapolis 500 in the 106 runnings. I don't believe there's ever been one. Jockeys with the most Kentucky Derby wins, Eddie Arcaro and Bill Hartack had 5 each, and most mounts, Mike Smith had 27. So Guys, what makes the Kentucky Derby so special, Donnie?
Well, it's an American icon, Mike. It's been around for so long. For one thing, it's been here 150 years. It's been here since 1847. 1847. I mean, that was the Wild West times. And they've been running the Kentucky Derby since then. Yeah. So it's a tradition.
And part of it is, it's part of the Triple Crown, but when horse racing made a great move that those 3 races were on television early.
Yes.
And they became part of the culture, and where in a lot of places horse racing kind of dropped off, that Triple Crown still matters to a lot of people.
Not 1847, 1874, I'm sorry.
It could be a difference maker. This is because the Belmont's not going to be run in New York. It's going to be run at Saratoga, and that, I believe, Belmont had the longest track. Is that right, Donnie? It was the longest run in the Triple Crown was the Belmont.
Yeah.
I got my numbers crossed. I got my numbers crossed out. It was 1874, not 1847.
It's going to be the same distance as the Derby, mile and a quarter.
Yes.
Mile and a quarter at Saratoga. So,
yeah.
The Kentucky Derby may be winner on that mile and a quarter may be the year for another Triple Crown winner.
Yeah, because we're going to get a good look at who can compete at that distance.
Well, you've got pageantry at the Derby, tradition. There's a lot of horses, betting, mint juleps, colors, clothes, hats. All of that make up a lot.
Personally, I'm a fan of the hats. I watch the hats.
You like those hats?
It's not so much that the hat says how wild some of them can be. I find that entertaining.
They are.
Favorite jockey? Donnie Moore, favorite jockey?
My favorite jockey? I always liked Shoemaker. He was always my favorite.
Yeah. How about you, Marcus, before we get out of here?
I can't say I got one. I just don't.
Have one?
No.
Buddy, I'll tell you what, I like Calvin Borel.
Borel.
Calvin
Borel.
2009 with Mind That Bird. They brought Mind That Bird in here. They were the owners bought their clothes at Walmart.
Yes.
Mind That Bird had won some race up in Canada, and they qualified the Derby, and they were just going to bring the horse in there to have a good time.
He's a
great
one.
And the darn horse won, 50-1 or something crazy. And they didn't have a jockey. They put Calvin on there.
How do they know the horse is having a good time?
I don't know. But anyway,
because he doesn't go nay.
Calvin won in 2007, 2009, 2010. Remember the first one, he didn't have any teeth, see?
True.
Then he won that first race, and he was able to afford to buy him some teeth.
He got some teeth.
The next 2, he was able to smile a lot more when he won the other 2. Yeah, so. Hey, it's time to turn the page, and when we come back, we'll have the bowl prediction segment. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Bluetick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for this week's bowl prediction segment. I'm here with Troy Provo-Heron and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore, and the word of the day is the Kentucky Derby, and we're going to look at some of these horses here.
That's 3 words, Mike.
We're going to look at some of these horses here and try to make some picks. I don't know, Donnie. I was looking over these horses yesterday, and compared to some other derbies, there's not a whole lot of real impressive horses here. I mean, they've got you got Fierceness up here, that one of the favorites, and he's second in points. He was the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner. He was second in the Florida Derby and third in the Holy Bull Stakes.
I thought he won the Florida Derby.
I don't think so. You got Sierra Leone, who's the points leader, the Risen Star Stakes, the Bluegrass Stakes. He won both of those, but he's in post number 2. And the last time a horse won in post number 2 was 1978. You got Dornock in post number 1. He's 17-1, but the last horse to win there was Ferdinand in 1986. So 1 and 2's not really a lot of bettors don't like those 2 posts, and I don't know. You got the 2 Japanese horses I thought was kind of interesting. One's in post 10 and the other in post 11. Both of them drew posts right next to each other. T.O. Password and Forever Young. Endlessly, talked a little bit about him with Troy. I thought, Troy, this would be a good pick. Endlessly yesterday, he's 47-1, but he didn't have a jockey.
Yeah, really.
They're gonna put a little action figure on him, and he's gonna be 100 pounds lighter than all the other horses.
I don't know.
Might be worth a sprinkle, $1 or $2.
What do you think about this field, Donnie? You keep up with horses pretty well. What do you think?
I'm kind of like you, Mike. You know, there's no superstars in this field.
Yeah.
That I can see.
There's no undefeated horses.
No.
So to speak, or.
You know, Fierceness is the favorite, like we said earlier, and he's what, 5-2?
5-2 as of yesterday.
As of yesterday.
Yeah, and what I've got are the odds that come in before people have started betting at the track.
Right.
And all this is going to change by post
time. It's all going
to
change by post time, of course.
Yeah.
But and we've got 1 scratch, so there are 20 horses in. Encino scratched, but you know. And the weather could change everything as to how these horses run. If you get, I don't know who's going to be a mudder.
Was their mom a mudder? Was their dad?
And you don't know who's going to get pinched out of the gate.
This is true.
You know that's a hard deal. And if out there on. If you're in post 18, 19, or 20, you got to make up ground, to get back in there. And so,
yeah, of course.
And 1 and 2, they could find themselves in a lot of trouble getting out of the gate.
Could,
because they're coming out of gate 1 and 2, and everybody's going to the rail. And there you
funnels.
are.
Everybody funnels right there. And if you get, but it's you never know. You never know. There are some horses that have some long odds that you can never count out.
Well, who do you look at? You look at the trainer. Do you look at the jockey? You look at the track conditions. What are you looking at if you're putting your money down today?
Yes.
What are you looking at?
Yes, and yes.
We got to make some picks.
Yeah, I know all that's true, but what are you looking at more? I I kind of like a trainer. I'm looking at
you
the
like
trainer.
the trainers. Yes, you do.
I do. I
You
like trainers.
You certainly do. You got to look at trainers because there are some good trainers out there, and there's some better trainers out there. Nobody's a bad trainer when they run in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
There's everybody trains
What
well.
about the jockey?
that
a big deal with you?
Not as much, because
it's just some little guy sitting on top of a horse.
They're all small, aren't they?
Yeah, it's just some little guy sitting on top of a horse.
Yeah, but jockeys have been known to.
It's about the bond they have with the horse.
Well, that's true too. They do have a good bond with the horse sometimes, but some horses have more natural talent than others too. Yeah. So it's a combination of things that sometimes just takes over and gets a horse to the finish line first.
Yeah, Marcus, sometimes in the Derby, because there's 20 horses and all these factors enter in, because there's so many, you don't have that many horses in the Preakness or the Belmont. Are we looking at a long shot today? You know, here recently we've had some long shots that have come around there and stole the show, so to speak, of the day.
Well, it's such a matter of just, feet and inches. We talk about football, but in horse racing it is. So position, weather, literally how the horse is feeling that morning. I mean, there's so much science that goes into horse racing at this point, where they are acclimating them to the gate, acclimating them to the track, acclimating them to being around people and all the pomp and circumstance that goes on in the Derby. I mean, it's not the first time the horses are experiencing it. They're literally training them to be able to take that and not be off their stride, so to speak.
Yeah. We got to make some picks here. We're running out of time.
But, I mean, what do you want? Troy, you want to pick it?
I want Donnie to pick first.
Yeah, okay.
Donnie, pick first.
He's the smartest person here. He should lead us off and influence our decisions, I think.
You want me to pick first?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. My choice. I've got two horses that I'm waffling back and forth with.
It's because he doesn't have a jockey, right? The more I say it, the more you're thinking 100 pounds.
One just got their jockey yesterday, and one still doesn't have a jockey. Those are the two horses.
No, my two horses that one of these two horses I think is going to win the race.
Okay.
Okay.
But you can only pick one.
You can only pick one,
true.
Donnie.
That's true. And you guys help me out right here. One of these two horses I feel is going to win the race. You guys help me out, okay? One of these two horses is going to win. I feel is going to win the race. I feel it's either going to be Sierra Leone, or Track Phantom.
I'd go with Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone's 3-1.
I've been doing some reading.
And Track Phantom's 20-1.
I don't like him. He's coming out of post 2. He's going to get pinched bad.
Okay, so I would like Sierra Leone as who I'd pick for Donnie.
Is that who you're picking?
No, that's not who I'm picking.
Sierra Leone's coming out of post 2.
Right.
Track Phantom's coming out of where? Out of post 12.
Mike, who you got?
Who have I got? I've got Just Steel. Just Steel, trained by Wayne Lucas.
That's a good trainer.
You guys are
Jockeys Keith Amusin.
You guys are insane.
That's who I got. Just Steel. Going to be Superman today.
I'm going with fierceness.
Fierceness.
Because Bob Baffert's been known to put a little bit more than Monster Energy drink in those horses' water.
Baffert's known to juice a little bit.
He's putting more than Monster Energy drink in the water, and that's who I'm going with.
I thought Baffert was out. Thought he was out of the Derby.
I don't know.
No?
Yeah, he's still got his band.
I'm still going with fierceness.
Okay.
I think he's got a little bit more Monster Energy.
Okay, who you got, Marcus?
I'm going with Catalytic because I believe there's a converter there.
Boo.
Converter.
Catalytic.
I figure it's either a win or a last place.
Yeah,
all right.
What do you got, Donnie?
That's it. I'm going with Sierra Leone.
Okay, Donnie's got Sierra Leone. That poor horse is going to be hung out to dry right there at the start.
That's it.
Oh, I just heard a whistle.
That's it.
That'll do it for today's edition of the Goatee Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host, the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For everyone here at the Goatee Sports Page, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the Goatee Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.